My name is Dave Hunsinger. We don't have that much background noise, so I'm probably not going to mute anybody unless it comes up. It's Wednesday, December 17th, and I'm going to talk about backing up. And just remember, it's Wednesday, 10 a.m., so you know we're not having Keystroke Live on the 24th or the 31st, just holiday season and all, so taking a couple of weeks off, but we'll be back after the new year on January 7th. So really, you know, I'm kind of a backup freak. I love backing up. I do lots of it. So I like taking care of it and getting it right. But the important thing is that you do it. We get a call every week on somebody that had a server crash or a problem, and we say, well, we can restore your backup, and they're like, well, I did one 6 months ago. So it's something you want to do, something you want to take care of. It's always good to do it. If you do backups, it's good to test or restore, and I think a real nice thing is to have a disaster recovery procedure, because if somebody had a server crash or a fire or something like that, they're freaked out. They're panicking. They don't know what to do. If you've got some steps written down on here's how you redo it all, it makes things really simple and quick to get that done. So it's good to have that disaster recovery procedure and have tested it so that they know it works and they're familiar, hey, if I need to back up, this is what I do. Some dealers, you know, maybe even set up a program group that's got, you know, here's backup, here's restore backup, here's how you do it. But had them test it and actually recover a backup makes it, when the need arrives to go back to a backup or restore one, it's not a big mystery. It's not a lot of hocus pocus. They know this is exactly what I do. There are some online backups. I don't know if any dealers actually use those. Things like Carbonite kind of paved the way, and there's tons of others, and some dealers do it. It's a good way of doing things, because you need to not only back up Keystroke, you need to back up other things on your server and workstations. Using backup outside of Keystroke is a great way to do things, because there's more than just Keystroke typically on a server or workstation that you want to back up. So there's online, there's data backups, there's daily. We do a lot of daily backups just because we're testing new versions, and sometimes we have to revert to something, and it makes it very easy for you. And kind of on that note, I am going to bring up kind of what I use for my daily backup. And if I switch to it, hopefully you can see that. I opened this in Word just so I could get the text a little larger. But what I'm doing here, and if you, I don't know how familiar everybody is with batch files and all, but basically I have a directory called back for backups, and in it I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 is today, 2 is yesterday, 3 is 2 days ago, 4 is 3 days ago, 5 is 4 days ago. And so what I do is, what this batch file does is it moves 4 to 5, 3 to 4, 2 to 3, 1 to 2, and then I create one and put that day's backup in. So what this batch file allows me is, it runs on a Windows task scheduler at 1 o'clock in the morning every day, and so I will have a backup from today, but also from the 4 previous days. So if I knew I had a problem 3 days ago and I discovered it today, I can go grab backup information from 3 days ago. And this is just always there. It runs in the background. I'm only doing 5 days because I don't do Saturday and Sunday, and in the Windows task scheduler, you can say, hey, I just want it to run on days of the week. So just something you can do. And if you see here, I'm using a copy and saying do subdirectories, verify anything, continue if there's an error. So if a file is open, it'll just skip it. So that is that. And then if I go back to my PowerPoint here, that's a daily backup. Then you can do the backups within Keystroke, and there's a Keystroke backup that uses 7-zip, and there is also a quick archive that uses 7-zip that lets you do a quick backup. So if I go into Keystroke, and let's see if I can get this shared. Looks like I've got it there. I am going to go into Keystroke and go into, hit the letter C for configuration, and I can select File and Backup. There is Standard that uses 7-zip. Old Standard uses WinZip, except WinZip wasn't working on 64-bit computers, so that's why we switched to the free program 7-zip. There is a custom, and all the custom is a command line. It'll run anything. So you can, any program you have on your computer, this will have it launch. So you could put the Carbonite Backup Center in here so that if this ran, it would pop up their Carbonite Backup Center. And then also with backup, there is the Quick Archive. What the Quick Archive does is just a fast, easy way of making a backup. You're going to change a lot of inventory. You're going to do a search and replace. You can go do a Quick Archive. I just did that. It has been archived into Tutor, and then it created this file, 14c17jvb.zip. 14 is the year. C indicates December because it's 1 is January, 9 is September, A is October, B November, C December. Today is the 17th. JV indicates it was version 715, and in the help screens it describes which two letters verify which or represent which versions. And B means I've made a couple of other backups today. So it just adds that letter every time you do a backup. And you see they're just right below right below the keystroke directory in archives and then wherever your data is. So you've got that. Now, what happens when you run this quick archive or the backup, also with this standard backup, it creates a batch file and just runs the batch file. So if I think I've got this might be a little harder to see because the text is smaller. Here's the batch file when I just ran the regular backup, and it's running 7-zip. And really, you could copy this batch file or use it as a crutch to create a new one. But if you see here, it runs 7-zip, 7ZA, but I'm excluding temporary files and I'm excluding KeyPay files, which brings me to a really important point. Part of PCI compliance is that you don't indefinitely archive credit card data. PAN, they call it, personal account numbers. So you need to be careful to not have data in your backup that you put on a CD, burn, and put away somewhere, because that is storing it indefinitely. So you typically want to skip those KeyPay files. Now, I do include them in my daily backups. In some of them, well, I'll stop KeyPay, do the backup, and start them because I only have them for 5 days, so I can get back to them. But when you're doing backups, you don't necessarily want that data. If you are using end-to-end encrypted devices, there's no cardholder data, no PAN, primary account numbers or personal account numbers, in Keystroke, so it doesn't matter if you back all that up. Now, if I go back to my PowerPoint here, so that's the Keystroke backup, that's the daily backup. But remember, there are better ways. It's a great source of revenue for dealers. There's a lot of different things you can do to keep those backups going. And that is all I have. Just so you know, when I back up, I take a copy of the Keystroke directory from our server and put it on my local machine. I also back it up to a CD. I make 2 copies. I put one in the safe here. I put one in my safe at home. Or send one home with Dana, my business partner, and have him put it in his safe at home. And then 3 months later, I'll give him another one and say, go put that one in and bring the old one back to me, and I destroy the old one. So I do the daily backup. I'll back up to CD, to DVD. I'll back up to a external hard drive. I kind of do it left, right, and sideways. I back up my personal machine where I've got documents that I want backed up and settings that I want backed up, as well as the server. So it's good to have a strategy and approach, and it's also a great way to add value to a resale to say, hey, I'll get your set up so that you have an easy way of backing up and restoring. So with that, are there any questions out there? It's pretty quiet. All right, well, thank you. I have here it's every Wednesday, but we have no Keystroke Live on December 24th and 31st. But thanks for coming today, and remember, do your backups and make sure you can restore them, because we've had people send us backups and say, hey, it's zipped, but it's corrupted, or you're not backing up the right data, you were backing up the data directory, not the store one directory, that kind of thing. So it's good to test that you can do it. But if I don't talk to you, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we will be here every day next week and the week after, just not on Christmas or New Year's.